You know what time it is. It's Saturday morning, 8 a.m. I'm Mark Hunter. No, I'm not Meridith Elliott Powell. She is away today, but with me today is Verl Workman. Verl Workman, who is he? He is a referral machine. We're going to talk more about him because actually we're featuring his book this week. What's the topic? We're going to be talking about, should you fire that client? Ooh, and we're going to get into a lot more. Hey, Sales Logic, the show begins right now.
Prospect with integrity, we will get customers who have integrity. Integrity is the foundation from which everything is built on.
You better understand value. But at the end of the day, sales is a relationship business. It is a people business. It is an emotional business.
This is Sales Logic.
Welcome back to Sales Logic. My name's Mark Hunter. Meridith is away today. With me is Verl Workman. Verl is a referral machine. He comes out of the real estate industry. He's done some amazing things. And you know what? I got to let you in on a secret. His company powers the back end of Sales Logic Mastermind. You haven't checked out the Mastermind? Go to saleslogicpodcast.com and you can find out how you too can be part of it. Hey, the topic today, and of course, the way this works every week is the fact that we select a topic based on a question that you've submitted. So send the questions into us. We, of course, review a book and we give you a lightning round. So, hey, welcome, Michelle. Glad to have you with us from New England. Thank you so much. So, Verl, let's jump into this. Should you and how do you go about firing a client?
I think that's a great question. As a matter of fact, it's kind of a fun question because a lot of people hang on to clients way too long to the point where they suck all of their time and all of their energy and all of their money out of their business just because they think the sale's coming around the corner. So for me, when it's time to fire a client, is number one, if you can't develop a relationship of trust, you don't have a basis for a strong relationship. Number two is you can't find a profitable way. Number three, they have unrealistic expectations. They want more for less. And so the answer that I have is, what I would say to a client is, I would rather turn you down than let you down.
Okay, say that again.
I say I would rather turn you down than let you down.
I love that comment because, again, it comes back to this whole thing of trust. I think you can fire a client. I love to say that sometimes the best sale you ever make is the sale you never get because that client, that account, that customer is just going to suck the life out of you. And I think we as salespeople don't do a good enough job up in the prospecting phase. We get happy feet. We get, ooh, this is going to be a really good customer. And we jump in and we don't really screen them because during prospecting, and I want to get your opinion, I think we're interviewing the customer as much as the customer is interviewing us.
It's true. Actually, the reason people don't want to fire clients is because they don't have enough clients. And so they hang on to bad ones
now wait a minute, hold
long.
it. You just called the elephant out in the room. Whoa, wow. Okay, talk some more about that.
All right, so think about this. And so I'll use real estate as an example, is when you do 7 deals a year and 5 of them are your brothers and sisters and parents, and you've got 2 deals. When you get a deal, you walk around like it's the most precious thing you have. And if anything goes to fall apart or they start sucking your time or they start changing terms, you hang on to it because you don't have another deal. But when you prospect every day and you build the pipeline and you've got a funnel and you lose a deal, here's the dialogue. You ready for I'm a dialogue guy. You ready for the dialogue? Next. Yeah, because you get another one teed up, so you just go to the next deal. But when you don't have enough deals, you don't prospect, you don't have constant flow coming into your funnel, what happens is you hang on to the toxic client way too long, and it burns you out, frankly.
Okay, now that leads us to the question of the week that came to us from Miranda in St. Augustine, right down the road. Verl and I happen to be in Orlando this morning, and she said, hey, sales are tough, and I've got this client that I can't stand, and I need to drop them. I need to get rid of them, but they're 1/3 of my business. I can't afford to get rid of the ugly customer.
You know, I've had experiences in my life where I've hung on to clients too long, and then after releasing a client because they weren't aligned in our values or whatever the reason was, I had other people come to me and say, oh, I'm so finally glad you're not working with them. Now I'll use you. And I wonder if that toxic relationship is keeping other people from engaging you. And if they're 1/3 of your business, that's a different issue. I don't believe that you should have more than 25% of your business in any one client or category. So we build 4 pillars of income. And so I would spend every day looking for revenue replacement. And then when you've built your pipeline up, so you've got revenue replacement, then you can have the difficult conversation.
Now, I like where you're going there, because you're saying 4 pillars, no customer more than 25%. I almost think 25% can be high. And depending on the business, depending on where. So what's your strategy then for sale? What should Miranda do from St. Augustine? She's got to get rid of this customer. It's 1/3. What would be the strategies you would share with her to say, okay, let's up this game?
Okay, so number one is when I talk about 4 pillars of income, what I do is I say, okay, what's your income goal? Let's say your income goal is to make $100,000. I don't do 25 in each pillar. I build 4 pillars. Each one of them has to prove out to generate 100% of my income goal. So I go after my goal 4 times what the actual goal is. I don't believe in attainable, realistic goals. I believe in going out 400% more and failing up. And when I only hit double my goal, I'm okay with that. So first thing is set bigger goals.
Now, I like that. Failing up. Now I'm trying to think, is that an optimistic expression or a pessimistic expression? Because this is the whole thing. I think salespeople set too small goals, and we tend to cling to what we have, and we don't push ourselves. So again, what should Miranda be? Because again, everybody deals with this. I've had clients I've needed to fire, and I've held on to them.
Well, I stack the deck. So the first thing I would do, and I really mean this, is I would generate that same level of client or bigger and have them in my pipeline so that I know that financially I'm going to be okay. And then I can, with confidence, say to the client, I'd rather turn you down than let you down. I don't feel like I'm delivering your needs. So because I don't feel like I can deliver your needs, I think I need to move you. And you always want to do what's right for the company you work for as well. And so is there another rep that would be better suited from a personality perspective? Like if you're feeling that way, they're feeling that way. And I believe that we're here to serve the client, not sell the client. And so if you're really unable to serve them, who could do a better job serving them? Or are they just butt heads? You need to kick them down the road.
I like where you're going with that, because I really do believe that there is a time when we have to pass the client off, pass them to somebody else, because again, I think they could be doing a better job, and that's where you want to go. And I think that's something we find out in the prospecting phase, whether or not we should be dancing with them. And one of the things that strategy that I had, and I admit I did this, I had a very painful client. I didn't like working with them. So what we did was we just raised their price. And you know what? Raising the price suddenly paid for the pain we were going through. Yeah. Probably not a good strategy.
I think it's a great strategy. You make it so they're paying you enough to tolerate a little bit of inconvenience or uncomfortableness.
Yeah. And really what we were hoping is that by doing a price increase with them, they would ultimately go find somebody else. They didn't. So we actually took another price increase, and they did finally leave us.
Yeah. So that's a good way to do it. I had to fire my sister.
Fire your sister. Now that is not a good, that changes the dynamics of Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So they wanted to buy an investment property. And so this is back when I was actually selling real estate, and I would go out and I would work with everybody, and I would take them out to show houses. But my sister and her husband couldn't get on the same page as to what they really wanted. So they were unclear on what they wanted. And I had to sit them down and say, look, you guys, until you get on the same page of what you want, I don't have the time or the energy. And I'm afraid it's going to put our relationship at risk if we continue to drive around and not buy anything. And so I'm going to refer you to somebody else.
And they were able to deal with you. They were able to work with you, and it worked out well. And hey, we got a great question today. It comes in from Sharik. He says right here. Whoops, let me try to get it up here on the screen here. It says, when should a sales team prioritize client education over information?
I would say always. Like I would always make sure my client is the most educated in a transaction, so that when they make a decision, they come from a position of power.
Right.
So like always.
Because, I love that, because I think it avoids commission breath, because it says I'm always going to be educating the customer. And I'm going to go back to something that you said, where you said you refer them. I think if we wind up referring them to somebody else and that works out, we've made 2 sales.
Right.
Because now that customer is now happy. we enable them to be happy, and I'm happy because they're not working with me. And the person who got the sale actually is happy with me. So I've got 2 customers now.
Yeah. So in real estate, what happens? People put the house on the market, and it's on the market, it doesn't sell, and then it expires, and then they have to go back and resell themselves to the client. Well, what I've learned is that the top agents will go into a marketplace, like let's say, so I coach a guy in Pacific Palisades, California. He does about 500 million in sales a year. And if an agent,
that's a small number.
If an agent from outside the marketplace comes in and lists a property in their area, he calls them up and says, I just want you to know that I'm an expert in the area. And if there's anything I can do to support you in this neighborhood or give you any information that will help your client sell the home, let me know. And then prior to the home expiring, he calls them and says, if you refer the business to me, you'll still make money on it. Because when your client expires, they're going to use me anyway.
Wow.
And so he teaches agents how to refer business to him, and he does tremendous business. So he serves them first,
right?
And then he creates an opportunity to get a referral business,
right?
And he pays them a referral fee. I think that's brilliant.
I love that strategy. You know, this whole thing, I think we're talking here about when we need to fire a client.
Yeah.
I think clients fire us a lot faster, salespeople.
Yeah. They emotionally move on. And
they
they
emotionally move on by many times they just make no decision and they just quietly disappear.
Yeah. You know, when someone says I need to fire a client, I always ask lots of questions. Is it me? Is the client? Is the product? Is the price? Is the service? Is the connection? Like what's really going on? If you have a core value issue, so I'm a big values guy. Like if we are not in line of our value, if I've got a client that I'm helping be successful in business and they're not ethical and they're not doing the right things, it's not a hard decision to say, you know, my plate's full. I don't have the bandwidth or the capacity to serve you anymore.
That's a real key thing because this whole values thing and so forth. I remember again, when I was back in my corporate days, we had an account that we needed to get rid of. And we were holding on to it. We in sales were holding on to it because we needed a number. Customer service was pulling their hair out. Ultimately, when we did fire the account, it was amazing customer service, how happy they were. And if I had realized how dissatisfied they were and how much work they were causing us on the back end, I think we would have terminated them long before. But these are some of the challenges of lining up. And you made another comment, and I love this, the whole values thing. We attract people who are like us. If we're attracting clients who don't match up to us, does that mean something we're casting off the wrong image or something like that?
It could mean that. What I say is that when you're not selling or when you've got a relationship issue, whether it's a business relationship or personal relationship or whatever, the best place to look is in the mirror. And then say, am I doing everything I can? Am I the person that's attracting the right people? Which I love what you said with that. And then if the answer is no, I'm doing everything I can. I'm serving the client. We're aligned in our values. We're delivering a great service, and they continue to suck our time and energy and everything that we have that gives us joy in life away. Then just like, it's really not that hard. I've never done less business because I let go of a toxic client.
Oh, okay. Say that again now. Say that again.
I've never done less business because I've let go of a toxic client, because when your energy is down, it's hard to prospect. It's hard to look for new things. You don't want to do it again. Yeah. Yes.
Thomas brings up a great question. Good morning, Thomas. Can you ever hit the reset button with a client? I think you can.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And sometimes it is, you just physically have to step away for a while and then come back to them. But what would be some ideas you've got?
Well, I think that if you have a client and your relationship is strained, you go back to the things that you use in the basic fundamental of building relationships. I called it BRT, building relationships of trust. And I have to develop enough relationship capital with a client that allows me to have hard conversations. But when you don't have any relationship capital, then you become just selling on price. And so now all of a sudden you get into a difficult situation. You don't have the relationship capital. It makes it very difficult to say, can we have a reset? So go back to, I'm a big Harvey McKay fan.
I love Harvey McKay.
66 things you need to know about every client.
And
right?
I love that last question, right?
Right.
Which is, does your client know more about?
Does your competitor know more about their client than you?
Yes, thank you. It's early in the morning.
It's early. So the answer is go back to what are the things we have in common? Do we have kids in common? Do we have faith in common? Do we have friends in common? Do we have fitness in common? Do we have food in common? Do we have sports in common? What are the things we have in common are the basis of our relationship? And then find a place where you can find common ground. We both want to serve your client. I'm selling you a product or service. The client's not happy. I have a product that I know solves that problem, but we're having a hard time communicating that. So how can I show up differently to make sure that our relationship is strong enough to be able to serve the end user or the client? Think about that. Ask the client how I can show up differently instead of why you such a butthead. Like I always approach it from what can I do? Am I the person that has the relationship capital? And I want American Express Black Card in relationship capital with all my clients so that, hey, like when I have a price increase or when I have to change something or if I have to let you go, it's not because I don't love you.
Right.
It's because this isn't working out for us.
Right. And there's nothing wrong. We have to realize that if we let go of a customer, there is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with that. Hey, this morning, Sales Logic, I'm Mark Hunter. Meridith Elliott Powell is not with us this morning and sitting in place. Well, okay, he doesn't look quite like
I'm not
Meridith,
even a player.
But Verl Workman, his book we're going to be featuring here in just a moment. His company also powers the back end of Sales Logic Mastermind. Hey, good morning, Natalie. It is great to have you with us. Look at the cause of the relationship challenge, and it could be that there is a communication gap. That's probably 80% of it right there. It's just we're not speaking the same language.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of relationships overall, most issues that you have with your wife, and I'm not saying you have any.
Thank you. My wife may be listening.
Right, and are due to lack of communication. You didn't communicate, or you over-communicated, or it's not intent. Like, I don't think anybody wakes up and hopes they fail in a relationship. I think that they get busy, distracted, and they don't communicate enough, and it causes strain on a relationship. So we fix it by over-communicating.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot there that we've been unpacking, and I'm going to challenge all of us that I think we can become more profitable if we let go of those difficult clients, because I think it takes up a lot of our headspace. We wind up mentally processing those difficult relationships far more than we ever realized. And that's time that could be spent prospecting. That's time that could be spent with better customers.
Yeah, I don't, I've had teams where we've got the highest performer on the team is also the biggest prima donna and the most frustrating to deal with, and the one who under-delivers for the client. But the team leader can't let the team member go because they produce so much of the business. And so the same concept is, can you let someone go who's a high performer?
Okay.
Just like you would let a client go who's a big chunk of your business.
Okay, let's run with that here for a bit, because again, that's a pretty powerful comment, because I've had that situation. And I had to let a top performer go because he was so toxic to the rest of the organization. And I thought I was going to get fired because management was saying, you're not going to make your number. If you don't make your number, you're fired.
Yeah.
But it was amazing because the rest of the organization actually stepped up and we came out of it just fine.
If you listen close enough, people tell you who they are.
If you listen close enough, people tell you who you are. I like that.
Whether they're salespeople or whether they're clients. And if you're listening closely and you realize that this isn't a fit, it's okay to not be the perfect fit for everybody. It's okay.
Wow. I love that. I love that. Hey, time is racing past right now, and we've got a great book written by Verl Workman. Verl, tell the audience the title of your book and the purpose of it.
Yep. The book is called Raving Referrals for Real Estate Agents. And it's
but it actually goes beyond don't turn. Oh, I'm not in real estate. You still got to read the book. Okay.
You know, we're all in sales.
We are all in sales.
And we're actually all in real estate in some way. We either live in a house or we rent a house or we want to buy a house. But the whole concept between raving referrals is we teach a concept called the 7 laws of raving referrals. And we also teach you how to close, 86 transactions a year working with 50 people 1 hour a day. Now, that concept is systematic. And, the average realtor sells 7 deals a year. So I'm teaching how to sell 86 deals a year, working with 50 people an hour a day, focused on one specific thing, and that is serving and instead of selling. And so we activate our communities, we activate people in the community, we teach people that how to give us referrals, and then we get by giving. I teach a concept called 3-2-1. Can I give them some meat today?
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm going to give you some meat. So 3 is every day we prospect I say we call 3 past clients.
Yep.
Or people that can give us a referral. We prospect until we add 2 new prospective clients into the database. We learn 1 new thing, and we give 1 outbound referral with no strings attached. It's called 3-2-1-1. So open up your computer, get into your database, and just pick up the phone. Call 3 past clients. Hey, this is Burl. How you doing? How's your family?
I love what you're saying there, because it comes down to what I call, forget the KPIs, key performance indicators. I want DPIs, daily performance indicators. It's your metrics, the metrics that you do every day. And, you know, we've talked about on this show a lot, the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's doing those things over and over and over again every day. And that's absolutely what makes this sold. Hey, here's the whole deal. Got to pick up your book.
Yeah, Raving Referral. It's on Amazon. Raving
It
Referrals
is on
for real
Amazon.
estate.
Okay.
It's phenomenal. And just have fun, right?
It is. Okay. Now, this is a great lightning round, because lightning round, that's where Mary and I just go rapid fire. Are you ready?
Yep,
ready?
bring it.
Top 10 ways to select your ideal client, to find your ideal client.
To find them?
Yeah.
Well, first I build an avatar and identify who they are.
Okay. Stop right there. I'm going to go in. Understand what is the outcome that you can create for your customer. Number 3, go ahead.
Number 3 is sales is a contact sport, and you got to contact them.
I love it. Number 4, understand the value you create by reaching back out to them.
Number 5 is serve regardless of opportunity. Is you give them something of value, even if you don't ever going to get a sell back.
Hey, number 6, look at your customer database. Who are the customers that have left you? What does that tell you? What can you learn from that?
Yeah, I know. I love the database. Okay, next one is follow up systematically. Don't follow up occasionally. So an A lead you have an appointment with, a B lead we call twice a month during the weeks of the 1st and the 15th. C lead, which we call once a month during the week of the 27th, during the week of the 8th, and then we follow up with our sphere during the week of the 22nd.
I love that, and I'm going to say, hey, never stop redefining, narrowing, tightening up, always making sure you know who your ideal client is. Dave Sanderson, another mastermind member. Welcome. Michelle, great to have you on the show. Natalie, everybody else. Hey, here's the deal. What is Sales Logic about? We're here to help you achieve, because you've been listening to Sales Logic this week. If you like what you hear, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. If something we've said has earned you a single dollar, consider telling a friend about our show, because it's how we grow when we help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter, and
Big V, Verl Workman.
And hey, when you do all this, the sale becomes absolutely logical. Do us a favor, check out Sales Logic Podcast, get registered for the next Sales Logic Expert Exchange, and we'll see you right back here. Sales Logic every week, same time. Great selling.